Well, now let's get to our top story, looking at some hemp products and if they're hiding a high.
A lot of the hemp flower that we purchased was essentially indistinguishable from marijuana.
A recent report from the Oregon Liquor and Cannabis Commission, or the OLCC, took a hard look at hemp products that you can buy in Oregon, both in stores and online. And what they found was that depending on where you're getting it, that hemp you're buying could be something closer to marijuana, with high concentrations of THC, the psychoactive compound that gets you high. The report is the result of a project called Operation Clean Leaf, where the OLCC took a look at several regulatory concerns in the hemp and cannabis markets based on consumer concerns. It was a good reason to use a new state testing lab.
Yeah, Operation Clean Leaf was really our pilot project with the newly up and running Cannabis Reference Laboratory. And so for a start, we wanted to take a look at some key issues in cannabis regulation, specifically looking at pesticide contamination, at cannabinoid potency in hemp and marijuana products, and at labeling claims on cannabinoid hemp products specifically.
The state legislature gave the OLCC the authority to create that cannabis lab back in 2023 as a partnership with the Oregon Department of Agriculture. The lab tested 51 samples of hemp flower, the stuff people would typically smoke, rather than things like hemp lotions or edibles, though they're waiting for test results on hemp edibles as well. The testing of the flower was looking for compounds called cannabinoids.
Basically, the lab took the samples of hemp flower, extracted all the cannabinoids, and then pushed that through a tube that separates those different cannabinoids based on their physical properties with a detector at the end that allows you to quantify how much of those cannabinoids is in there if you know what you're looking for.
The National Institute of Health describes cannabinoids as a group of compounds found primarily in the cannabis plant. There are just over 100 different cannabinoids, but generally, if you consume marijuana or hemp, you care about two of them, CBD and THC, specifically delta-9 THC. CBD generally more of a relaxing compound. Delta-9 THC is the psychoactive compound that's found in higher concentrations in marijuana. The OLCC defines hemp as having no more than 0.3% of total THC. The investigation revealed that every single hemp flower sample that they tested had more than the 0.3% of total THC, and some samples had more than 30%, which at that point is basically potent pot.
Findings were pretty interesting. There was significantly more total THC and delta-9 THC in a lot of these products than is allowed for sale to consumers in Oregon. Oregon has a pretty nuanced approach to hemp regulation, and about 60% of the products that we purchased were actually very high total THC products, essentially indistinguishable from the marijuana products, marijuana flower sold in our licensed retail market.
This was hemp flower that was available either for purchase in Oregon or through online retailers, both based in Oregon and then outside of the state. And I also think it's really important to distinguish between the two types of markets. So you have the adult use market. That's the market that was created when Oregonians passed ballot measure 91 back in 2015. That's regulated by the OLCC. Those retail outlets are licensed by the OLCC, inspected by the OLCC. And then you have this other market, which is outside of that. That's the hemp. That's where we purchased the hemp, these hemp products.
Now, the report shows there's a widespread problem with retailers outside of the adult use market simply ignoring OLCC regulations for things like THC levels, which is obviously important because people should know what they're buying. But the issues don't stop at hemp that might get you high. There are also concerns about the off-market hemp being sold to minors.
The hemp flower market, when it's not operating in compliance with regulations, is really almost entirely removed from all of the safety elements. And additionally, age verification is another issue. To purchase a product at a licensed marijuana retailer, that marijuana retailer checks ID for every purchase. For the hemp flower that we purchased, and particularly the hemp flower that was purchased online, only 13% of those websites did any kind of significant age verification as part of that sale.
The OLCC tells us they are in the process of hiring people to work undercover sting operations, posing as minors, to bust shops that may be selling to teens and kids. That's a bit of an authority recently granted to the agency, since the off-market stuff doesn't fall under their usual alcohol and marijuana regulations. Apart from those sting operations, the OLCC is looking to hit retailers where it hurts if they're caught selling overly potent or mislabeled hemp flower.
So based on the results of this investigation, we have been, in some cases, we have referred the retail outlets or where we purchased this to law enforcement for follow-up, pursuing civil fines through our administrative hearings division. And then the other thing I think is worth mentioning is that starting in 2026, all hemp products will have to be registered with the state of Oregon. And two things will come out of that. One, they have to then have ingredient labels, and they also have to show that they are complying with testing requirements. So that will provide an extra layer of information for consumers going forward.
So, more than 8 months until that registry rolls out. And when it comes to reaching those out-of-state online retailers, the OLCC says they do have the authority to pursue civil penalties against those companies. However, they are focusing their efforts on Oregon-based retailers before they turn their attention outside state lines. All right, so what is going through your mind after seeing the results of this investigation? Are you surprised that some of this off-market hemp is actually marijuana? Let us know. Email the story at kgw.com or call and leave us a voicemail, 503-226-5090. Or as always, you can hit us up on social media.